and Breakdowns.
Welcome back to the Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast. We have another great episode, and it totally wasn't last minute planned. But yeah, this was definitely in the books. But today we have the legendary, the amazing, the talented, the always tired DJ Daniel Alvarez.
Hello.
What's going on?
Yeah, I am always tired.
I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's not like I live here or anything.
no,
I love what you've done with this. Yeah, I've always wanted to be on.
No, this is what is that? Long time listener, first time.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I honestly, I do appreciate you doing this because it's a busy day today. We got a double header show today at Haltom. And yeah, it was. I mean, yes, obviously it is last minute. But it's good because we can do that. We can do that.
Yeah, we can. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Come on, talk to people, talk to each other, let people listen to what we have to say. Ain't
True.
shit.
Sometimes we have stuff to say.
Sometimes.
Yeah. That's gonna be it for this episode.
Yeah, that's it. Cut. Yeah, fucking done deal.
It's funny. I mean, we're just gonna talk because literally, like, I told you yesterday. I was like, hey, can you be on? I did have one of the bands, had something come up, so. Which happens, so it's fucking fine.
No, you have to tell me.
I don't even know what happened. It looked like it was several members had like something come up.
Whack. That seems to be a trend. There's been like a lot of shows that we've had to we've had booked and then someone has to drop because something came up and whatever. Which is only natural, but damn, guys.
It's important. You have to, I mean, even with like those cases, because it's no one's fault. Like, in most of the cases, like someone's fucking sick as shit, or I think we ran into like deaths in the family. I ran into that on the podcast where like someone's like, I think right before they were supposed to come on, like their grandma passed away like that week, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah,
I was like, okay,
yeah.
And it's kind of, you know what I mean? There's no like why if it's like something sudden or something like that, you know what I mean? Like it's why am I gonna get pissed or whatever?
No
it's not
reason.
even a crazy inconvenience or anything like that.
Can't be upset about that.
Yeah, life fucking happens. But I mean, last time you were on was when we did the NoiseROT one at the beginning of the year. So that was like
damn, it's been 6 months.
We were the first ones.
Oh yeah, we were.
Yeah. That was 92.
Back in 98. No, I thought you were saying like a year.
But we've been pretty busy, I think, for the first half of the year.
It's been pretty cool. Some good shows. And then aside from that, like, I mean, you're doing the photography, leaning into it. So I'm leaning into like different skill sets as well. It's
so you
nice.
are, yeah. You've been working a lot with Lewis, which is with Crooked Tooth Studio. Which
Crooked Tooth Studios. Let me know what you need. We got you. No minimums. Fucking any budgets. I'm dead ass serious. You let me know.
Just do the ad.
I'm gonna do the whole ad read right now.
We're gonna then the ad that I put in is gonna come right here. What's going on, everybody? It's OC, your host for the Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast, and I'm here today to talk to you about Full Step Go. Now, as you can see today, I am dripped in it. I got the shirt, I got the hat, but Full Step Go is a lot more than just clothes. It's more than clothing. It's a culture. Full Step Go has always been a symbol that cultivates a community of creativity and growth. Whether it's music, artwork, clothing, they are all over the map making waves. They truly do inspire creatives to uncover their potential and discover their true selves. There really is no limits when it comes to your creativity. So follow Full Step Go to join the new counterculture movement and go against the mainstream.
Fuck it.
And we're back now.
And we're back.
But you decided like maybe a couple months back now, like maybe it's been a few months.
Yeah.
Where you decided to just go and I guess
learn a new skill. Because I mean, I've been bartending and bar managing for 12 years now.
Shit.
Yeah, 12 years now. Like I've got my 100,000 whatever hours in. Like I'm technically, I believe I'm a master bartender, not a master bar manager. But after doing that for so long, I was like, I need to do something different. You know what I mean? I love what I do, but I was like, I need to do something different, something that feels creative, because I haven't like released any music. I haven't really sat down with my instruments in a while.
You're the story I bring up as a cautionary tale to all these
it's kind of
kids.
crazy.
Like, you need to release.
I need to release everything, but it's working out because after the post closed down, which I always talk about this when I'm at work or with people who ask me about it. But yeah, like the post was everything I wanted to do, work in a venue, cater to the community. But without that, I'm like, okay, what do I need? Mm-hmm. And so working at the Tub, I'm like, cool, I can just come in, be a bartender, make some money, go home. You know what I mean? And I don't have that like stack of responsibilities like keeping me like from doing all these other things that I want to do. So it's kind of nice to be creative, learning a new skill set. Because like working with Lewis, first of all, I gotta say, like that guy's mentality of just like, let's just get it done. Like, let's just figure it out. Yeah. Is inspiring, because I always used to think like I wouldn't be the type to be like, just dream about it. It'll come to you. He's very much like, wake up, go get it done. Like, just fucking go do it. Mm. And seeing him do like the recording studio, the video work, the screen printing, embroidery, like, and him learning it on his own. Mm. I'm like, yeah, there's nothing I can't not do. I just need to go do it. And I try to take some of that with me now. Yeah. Or like my truck, my truck's a piece of shit right now. And I'm like, I need to just get it fixed. Yeah. I just need to go get it done. And I'm trying to just stop complaining and waiting and just doing it. So I was like, I just need to learn something new. Mm. So learning like the screen printing, which is tedious. It's tedious. Don't get me wrong. It's tedious as hell. But when it's like, when all the pieces fit, it's pretty satisfying. I'm like, this is pretty cool. So it's been nice to just go to a job, make my money, and leave that at work, and then kind of feel like a human again. Like I think I've mentioned this to you not too long ago, because I was like, I feel like I'm not doing like the 60, 80 hours a week now. I'm like, cool, I'm doing like my 30, and I'm doing fine. I'm not like loaded and rich, but I'm doing fine. Yeah. I mean, I'm doing okay. So it's I think I wouldn't have that job opportunity had I not already had the skills and years of experience that I've had prior. Again, because I'm not working in that focus goal of working at the Post anymore, I can kind of focus on myself. And I feel like I'm in a good spot. I'm in a good spot. I used to say I'm where I want to be because of the Post, but now that's gone, I'm like, I still feel like I'm in a good spot. I can cater to NoiseROT. I can cater to myself. Yeah. And cater more to my friends. Like I talked to Dizzy the other day. I was he called me because I've been trying to call him, and he's always just out and about. Out of the country. Always out and about. Yeah. And he called me the other day, and we talked for a couple of hours. And I think we're gonna try to hang out. I think Wednesday. So if you're not doing anything Wednesday, but I think we're gonna try to hang out Wednesday. But like catering and trying to see everybody and actually be a friend again, instead of like just fucked off working all the time. Yeah. It's nice. It's nice. It's a lot.
Yeah. No, I mean, the returning back to like being a human and being like, it's got to be a wild like ride for you, because it's been, I mean, how long were you at the Post?
4 years.
4 years, and then you were a manager for
all of it.
All of it. No,
I started off as,
it was very soon though.
Yeah, because they have like a hiring process. Mm-hmm. Most jobs when you do management require you to do a couple of weeks in each.
Gotcha.
Each job, so you know how that job is done, so to speak. So when they brought me in, they're like, hey, but you need to go through the training. But I was hired in as a manager, so all the new people were like, oh, who's this guy? I'm like, oh, y'all don't know, but I'm about to be y'all's boss. Yeah. So like, I remember one chick got mad because I was like, yeah, y'all need to like, I was working support the first couple of weeks, and at the end of the night, closing the bar down, they wouldn't scrub or mop the floor, and so the floors were all sticky. And I was like, yeah, we should like scrub and mop. And she'd be like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, oh, okay, in 2 weeks you're gonna be doing that. Like, it needs to be done. It just needs to be done.
Yeah.
Like, just silly things that I thought were silly. Like, why aren't we doing this? It's not that hard.
But going from somewhere where you have to, it's not only like you're looking out for you doing a good job, but every like your whole team doing a good job, and also like a venue being successful. Like, you know what I mean? Is a shit ton of stress to look at you, and then the time you have, like, you know, and then it's like you're saying, like, you're going back to doing stuff now that you enjoy, like seeing friends and stuff like that, like going at it and all this stuff without having that sort of like break in between, or being able to like, well, you know, I get my ass kicked, but at least, you know, I can still go do something fun after this. But you limiting yourself to like just like the post, like,
I mean, and there's I'll continue.
No, yeah, it just seems like a really big like weight lifted off, you know, like in a weird transition to go into a place where you're like, oh, I'm not in charge of like this. I gotta just worry about me. Yeah,
it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to not have to feel like I need to carry that weight on. Because like going to the tub, come in, I've met all the regulars, make some drinks, go home, and it's not like craft cocktails. You know, it's dive bar, super easy. Now there's been some crazy shit out there.
Just
some
the other
crazy
day.
shit. Yeah. What, I've kicked out people for being inappropriate in the restrooms, and I was like, "What the fuck is y'all's problem?" But I get it. But
we've all been there.
But had they kicked there, I've seen some guy get his teeth knocked out. I've seen some pretty fun stuff. I'm like, oh, these are my people. Like, you know, the SpongeBob when he's like, these, or when Mrs. Puff is like, these are my people. Anyways, it's nice. I did like a little bit of the stress from the post, because there's something good about feeling like, cool, my team is taken care of and they're making money. Cool, the musician tonight got paid and had a good crowd. People actually liking whatever cocktail program I was bringing to the table. Like, checking those boxes is nice. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. But also it's nice to be like, oh, I'm coming home and I'm off the next 3 days and I can do whatever I want, as opposed to, and that's the other thing, to kind of segue from that. The other thing is, like, I wanted to say, it's not like I didn't have the opportunity to hang out with everybody, but there's always something that could be getting done that I feel like needs to get done. I could have scheduled more time for people, but it also doesn't help that my life is on the opposite end. Like, you know, I'm going in to work at, now I go in at 7. I'm out at like 4 in the morning or so. It just depends. Yeah. But the post, I mean, I'm there till 2, 3 in the morning. Everyone is asleep, so I'm home and I'm up all night. I mean, you hear me. I'm up all night. Then I'm asleep at like 7 a.m. And then everyone else is out trying to go live their lives, and I'm like, don't bother me. I'm asleep. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's been my whole life, though. That's been forever now. So that doesn't help. And it doesn't help that I don't have an ID. It doesn't help that
working on it.
Which I have the thing. It's all figured out. I just got to wait for my date to come up and go do the DMV and deal.
We got an appointment.
With that bullshit. Yeah.
Insert clap sound here.
It's gone on. That's gone on too long.
But yeah, like the opportunity to learn. I mean, going back to like what started like this whole like segueing, which that's why I love podcasting. But learning skills like is it's fucking cool. You know what I mean? Learning something that you actually put into practice kind of thing. And just the availability of people who are willing to teach. You know what I mean? Like finding breaks that is kind of awesome. You know what I mean?
Cool, right.
And also in the whole attitude behind Lewis is like, oh, why don't you just go do it?
Yeah.
And it's the kind of thing that has always kind of got me sometimes, because like one of the downfalls of myself, like having a shit ton of ideas all the time, is that I get cut off at the idea. I'm like, that is a good idea.
And that's it.
That's it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, but Lewis is definitely like, yeah, that's a good idea. Do it. Like, okay. Yeah. And then everything after that that would come to my head is the excuse. And then I just shut the fuck up, because now it's like, oh, everything that's about to come out of my mouth is me just complaining. Like, I go, then stop fucking talking about all this shit. You know what I mean? Like, and this is me talking to myself. I'm like, yeah. I go, stop saying like, oh, you could do this. Yes, then do it. You know what I mean? And like even like when I look at like, you know, picking up, you know, photography for the last few weeks now, you know what I mean? It was just an idea of like, it all came together. I'm like, I like taking pictures. Like,
Right.
you know, I have the equipment available to me. You know what I mean? Like I have fucking 2 pretty decent ass cameras, you know,
Right.
like for someone starting that. And then I have a shit ton of people around me, like who do it and who do it well. And what I've discovered, who are willing to, you know, do a little, like show me a little thing here and there.
Right.
But also, it's always a thing that I talk about with like finding like your passion or the shit that you should be like working on is the stuff that like what are you spending time on and you don't give a fuck like how long you stay there.
Right.
You know, whenever like I used to look at you like mixing shit and just being like there for fucking hours, I was like, damn, like you know what's my next? I kept thinking, I'm like, what's my next thing that I am gonna do that on? You know, because I've done it on a few things on the podcast. I don't. It's automatic now. You know what I mean? I know how everything kind of rolls. So there's, I'm sure there's more that I could learn. Definitely, but it's not. It hasn't been there for a little bit. It's like, oh, it's kind of like if it ain't broke, don't fix it at the moment. Which I know, like I'm like, okay, like it's doing its job. But yeah, with photography and just like editing and stuff, I'm like, oh, look and be like, oh, it's been 3 fucking hours. You know, right? I've just like been sitting in it. Yeah, it's been fun. Yeah, and it's been fun. And then just knowing. Also being not the best person in the, not that I've like ever been like the best person at anything, but having like opportunity to learn is just so exciting. And I didn't realize like how much I actually do enjoy that. It just has to be the right thing that interests me. Where I'm like, holy shit, like let's learn all this shit. Like let's stare the videos. You know, like I always look at like because I think you use the NoiseROT YouTube to like whenever you look at like studio videos and stuff like that.
I do. I don't mean to. I forget that I use. But
then I look, I'm like, man, he's watched like a lot of these hoes, and then I like I've looked at mine. I was like, oh shit, there's all these like camera shit now. Like, another video to watch.
Then your algorithm gets locked in. And then you get all,
which is kind of sick because like cool. I'm like, oh, now when I look at like my TikTok algorithm, it's a lot of stuff like that. It's like, oh, like this shot, blah blah blah. I was like, cool, like
and you never know like when something's just gonna come like because there's a few things like even like with the calf cut stuff. I'm like, that's pretty neat. Yeah, that's a pretty cool little trick. Blah blah blah. blah. Put that into practice. And like, oh, now I know how to do this now, and maybe I won't ever need it, but it's nice to know that I can do it.
But I think you starting like off with Lewis is kind of trickling down, even like in our team. So like you, like now, like I'm trying to do that. Like now Burns like try to learn like Photoshop and shit. I'm just like, I was like, oh, it's what you always talk about. Like, oh, it's the people you surround yourself with. Like, who's doing this shit? I'm like, dude, that's. I can see how that exactly happened. Where I'm like, damn, like they're doing something that they're learning and being able to like put to practice and do it, and they're having fun. I was like, oh, what's my thing? Let me pick something up. And like, you know, this morning I've been up since 4:30 in the morning because I volunteered to do like help my friend do a shoot, do a shoot in the stockyards, and I'm just like, you know, that was how long we were out? We were out there for like 2.5 hours or something like that.
That's not bad.
And it was fun, you know what I mean? And again, it got me out doing something, learning, and it's time that I don't feel bad that I spent 2.5 hours doing something because I'm like, dude, I was doing something. It wasn't like I was laying down and didn't do shit. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Especially like my job has changed in the past like few months now, maybe 3 months to like.
Do they have to go to the office more now?
No, it's the same. It's the same. We still switch off, but it's a lot more mundane work. And it's just like in the office, it's like files and shit. You just literally going through it. You're doing the same shit over. So there's nothing interesting. And then they switched me department, so I am learning a new department. But it's like, damn, I hate learning shit about something that I don't care about. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, and then that's when it got to me. I'm like, is it just I don't like want to learn anything right now? Like, is it that, or is it just like this is just not what I want to be learning? Right. And discovering like that and being able to do like camera work and photography and just like again just learning, I'm like, oh, okay, no, it's not me, it's the subject matter. So I'm like, oh, okay, so it's kind of encouraging. I was like, oh, that's still in there, that drive is still in there. Yeah, sometimes like again when you start feeling like that little decline, I'm like, oh, is it me? Do I just not care about shit anymore? And that's what was happening to me. And I'm like, and then discovering that and having fun with that, I'm like, oh, cool, it's not. You know what I mean? It's like a bit of a relief.
I think everyone just needs, especially people who are like passion driven, I think just need a little reignition sometimes. Just a little, some firewood, some in the fire, kind of restoking that. I mean, working at the studio has been just more eye opening. Like all this stuff is tangible. Like all my goals are not far fetched. Like I can do these things. It's just more work. You know what I mean? And that's the case with most things. It's like it's just more work. So like earlier when you're saying like you're at the concept, and then you think of the excuses, and it's like, yeah, you can think of excuses, or you could just put in the work. Like
Yeah.
it's. I don't think there's anything unless you just have like the best of luck or you just got in like the right position at the right time. Like, there's nothing in life that we can't obtain through just like work and dedication, and that it's as cheesy and as redundant as that always sounds. Like, it's all it comes down to. Like, how much work are you willing to put in, and are you willing to fuck up? Because that's my issues. I hate fucking up, which I fucked up. I fucked up some shirts and have had to relearn. You know what I mean? I've fucked up mixes before when I record, and that's why I'll sit there. I'm like, I need to learn how to make this sound better. But I've gotten better. I think the only thing I've tried that I never got better at was drawing. I'm like, I can't draw. I can't draw for shit.
Cool,
I wish I could draw. I wish I was visually artistic. Can't do it. Can't do it. Don't ask me. I really
Dude,
can't.
I can't. The only drawing I don't know why this specific memory is coming up, but I was in first grade and I learned how to draw Super Saiyan hair. Just like the spikes.
yeah.
Drew that shit on everything, dude. It'd be like fucking stick figures with the Dragon Ball Z spiky hair, like super detailed on it, but it's a stick ass head. The dot, like just 2 dots for eyes and shit. Or when I started doing like triangle eyes for people, the aggressive one. That's all like I learned. But I could never. That's one thing, and it's probably what I admire like people who do art like so much, because I'm like
makes no sense.
There's certain things where I look at him like, if I try, like I can probably figure stuff out.
Right.
Again, like seeing stuff like, not to say like what they're doing is easy, but I'm like, that makes sense to me. Like I can make sense out of this. But art, like drawing and like figuring out concepts and like figuring out what you're gonna put here, it's not in my wheelhouse. I can take like, that's why photography, like I can take what's I'm looking at and figure out how to make that look better.
Right.
Even like framing or whatever, like that makes sense to me. But like staring at a piece of paper and being just like, oh, like, what if this color, I'm like, oh God, like, I can't.
Even you said color, like even figuring like the science out of like why these colors work together and how they make people feel, like that stuff is crazy. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, being able to look at a blank canvas and be like, this is what I want it to look like from end to finish, from beginning to finish, and I'm just like, I can't do that.
Yeah. Or having the, I don't know if maybe that's a good question to ask someone who paints or does art, but like, or if they have like improvised like moments like you do it in like music or like art, it's like, oh, like that's not what I was in. It just happened kind of thing.
Right.
So that'd be an interesting like
just like people who play guitar and they'll have like a solo and they're like, yeah, I don't know what I did. Like I know like the scale I was in, but I just kind of just went off the riff and sometimes they don't replicate it exactly. Yeah, like some people, it's just lightning in a bottle. They just captured that moment. Yeah.
Well, that's what like I know they always bring this up with like Lil Wayne, who never wrote anything down. Like
that's crazy.
It's
crazy.
Absolutely insane.
That's insane.
I'm like, how do you again? And this all goes back to like when I see other people write and stuff like that. Right. Just like how are
like
you writing?
You've seen like this sessions.
Dizzy's the one that I bring up. Dizzy and then and Riker's session, but Dizzy's session freaked me out the most because he came in, I think he did 3 songs that night, like with you. And he was like, I was like, oh, he's got them done. Like he's just coming in to record. I was like, no, we're going to figure them out here. So like hooks and like, and then lyrics and like his flows and stuff like that, all that shit was made up while he was there. And it just made sense to him. Like he was seeing this, hearing this beat and being like, this is how it's going to go. And then lines make sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like it
blank
sounds canvas,
so like easy. Figured it out. Yeah.
Yes, like he is one like so cool to watch work. Like it is super interesting.
Not too long ago, I was just sitting in on a studio session, and there was an artist that came in, and they had like the beat and everything was done, and we're asking them like, what are they gonna do? And they're like, I don't know, just throw me in the booth. And they're sitting there. It was grueling. It was grueling because nothing was like really sticking, and they had to keep rewriting. And that was the first time I was like, damn, bro, you should just write your stuff out. Like I don't know, there's a process for everybody. It's a little different, but I think sometimes those process. I think being somewhat prepared is not bad. Unless you just know what you're doing. Like you should. And I don't know, like when you should have some preparation.
That's the way I see Dizzy's session. So I don't know if he's like knew certain like melodies, but like from what he came in looking like, he's like, I got an idea, and it was just like, but that was cool to see. But yeah, like me, if you're gonna like leave it open, I need to be ready, like when I'm going in there. So I will listen to whatever like song or instrumental I'm doing, and I'm like, this shit needs to be nailed. Like here, like and there's certain stuff like if, again, I'm acting like I go to the studio all the time, but if I ever like went again, like there's stuff that I would like to try. Or even like pre-production try, like, you know, when we would like record stuff, you know, and record tracks, like I would still have like, this is the idea. Now let's work on it with an outside like viewer or ear, someone listening, like, hey, why don't you try this? Which we did a few times.
Yeah.
I mean, when we
bring it to a producer, then they get like an idea. They have their influence in the writing. Yeah,
which I've been hearing a lot more people work with producers and stuff like that.
It's a smart thing. I mean. A good producer with the right act can be a good collaboration because both parties may see one half of a whole, and a good producer will bring that much more out of you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Especially if y'all just know how to speak each other's like musical language. But I'll watch, and I've seen this in different producers. They pull out just the right things out of you, or they're willing to challenge you to push your boundary. Yeah. Like maybe you're like, oh, I like singing in this type of style, but the producers ask me to maybe try this out, and next you know, like, oh, that worked out. That was actually really fun, and now you're learning again, coming back to learning a new skill set or learning something that you would have normally have done in the first place. Yeah. But then you sometimes have bad matches where it's like, like we don't, like I've sat with some people before and I'll be like, hey, like here's what I'm thinking, and they're like, no, I don't. I think this is this and that. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I'm keeping it vague. I'm keeping that one vague. But they're like, yeah, just do it like this. And I'm like, all right, I got you, no problem. Yeah. And then some people have heard me out and be like, hey, like I really think if you try this out, it'd be really cool. And it is really cool. And then we're both like, whoa. And then you're having fun. You're like, oh, and that's what it should be at the end of the day. Is it should be at least a fun process and a fun product.
So I think I'm trying to remember exactly who I was talking to. I think it was Holder, Santiago. And he was talking, I was like, oh, how do you work that out? You know what I mean? Like, as a producer, like thinking like, hey, try this idea. Right. And it came a lot to like language, like, oh, make sure you're communicating things in the proper manner, which is the same communication that you would use like in a band, which is like, how do you tell someone like, hey, try a different part or something like that? Right. And I've talked to, luckily, like most of the bands that I've talked to like are like over. I refer back to, I'm switching point to point. No, to point, but by all means. I remember the first like year or two of Under Oblivion where we would just argue like a motherfucker and like, you know what I mean? Like but instead of being like, I don't like that part because of this, it was like, no, I don't like that part. And that was it. I was like, fuck you. Like, you know, and like everybody would get real defensive about like this. And it took like a good while, I think, before we learned how to communicate with each other.
Being more open to ideas.
And it looks like a lot of like the you know, I talked to like the Deep End and like Polsto. We were I bring that up and like, how are you guys with being honest to each other about like what you're like, oh yeah, no, we're fine like that. Yeah, he's like, egos might get hurt for like a split second, but then like we're working on the song together. They see the bigger picture at least. Yeah. Which I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool that a lot of people are looking at it that way. But yeah, like I remember when we recorded, and there were like suggestions made, I was very defensive because I'm like, we wrote this shit, like, and I don't need anything like extra.
Look, just click the fucking mouse, and we'll let you know when we're done.
And then looking back at it, I was like, maybe some of those parts would have been
actually that would have been cool. Yeah. Like I'll take you in like when we did the with you and mine EP, like some of the orchestral stuff and stuff like I know we were defensive when like they flipped like one of the songs completely. I was like, well, this not at all. It was cool. Yeah. It was neat. But then I think at that point it was like, it was creative, but it just didn't align with what we were, the story we were trying to tell. You know what I mean?
Also, I think, who are we talking to?
Damn, what the fuck?
I think it was Postal.
I think I got Zenny's hair in my mouth. What the fuck? Keeps
probably on the mic. They're all over the mic. What's that one video? Oh, the guy just That's so stupid. We weren't in the room to work on it together. Right. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like, maybe like that would have felt better had we been like, hey, he's trying something out. Like, what do you think about this? Or what if we did this together? I think that would allow a bigger feeling of like, oh, okay, we were there. We worked on this together. When it's just like, all this stuff was at it and changed. And because it did change a complete part, you know what I mean? Like, where I'm like, oh, that's completely different than what we wrote. So I think that's where like the defensive, but it seems like there's been a lot of cool like relationships between like, you know, producers and like, you know, artists, and it brought out some really cool bands. Like I think Alexis from With Hope Intact works with Clay, and she was like, a lot of my vocals like came out way better than I had initially thought of, because Clay pushes me like for this stuff, you know what I mean,
bro? But everything Black Oil does is fucking badass. Like their sound,
they've been on one,
their fucking like their production quality of their shit is fucking badass. Anyways, that shit's
I want to go see it. Like
it'd be cool.
I would love to go like chill with them.
Let us in. Let us in. Oh shit. Yeah, no, that shit is cool.
Yeah, but because I mean Clay, I think even like when I feel like I'm just like name dropping people. No, I'm just telling you about everybody who's here. Like, not like you haven't heard like all these like podcasts already. But Daydrake, so that's like a 3-person team. It's like Clay, Kristen, and cannot remember their other producer.
Cody?
No, it's somebody else. Anyways, it's just like a group of like 3 people, and they work on it together. I'm like, that's fucking tight. You know what I mean? Like it's just like new
the right team.
Style team. Yeah. It's kind of sick. How just like teamwork has been working, and creativity is, I don't know, like I've loved the shit coming out of like the scene in general, but like Texas in general, like seeing stuff like outside. That's why like, you know, Postal's from San Antonio, and just being like hearing them like for the first time, and then hearing the record.
Yeah, hearing them for the first time, I was like, oh, they're fucking badass. What the fuck?
Yeah. I think I heard them at Black Hat. I wasn't even there. I didn't even know who they were the band on the bill that I didn't know.
Gotcha.
Like I think I was gonna see Zeta Bite, and I show up, and they're like mid set or about to start their set, and I'm just listening. I'm like, the fuck is that? You know, I was like, there it is, this here, and then because it was different. Like it felt like it was different. It was like out of place a little, not in a bad way. You know what I mean? Where it was like it caught my like attention more than like I think everything else on the bill. And there was something different about it. But yeah, people just like combining elements to like make stuff. I think more people are aiming to like just make music they like. It's been a really cool movement.
It's always like weird talking about like the genre stuff now, because like, yeah, you can have like a generalization of it, but people are really fine tuning in them individually as like bands, and like, yeah, maybe it does sound like some Dillinger, maybe it does sound like some August, maybe like, but it's not that, it's that band. You know what I mean? It's very much that. And I like that more so than when I can be like, oh, this is just a enter major label metalcore band here type of band. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like I forgot there was something I was listening to. I'm like, yeah, this is just literally whatever, like Monster Flames. I'm like, I don't want to listen to that. You know what I mean? Like it's been done. You know what I mean? So it becomes redundant. So I like the fucking get weird. You know what I mean? Get weird. Throw shit in there. Fucking why not?
The getting weird is cool, and I like that more people were giving that shit a shot. Yeah, because it's just interesting. It makes for interesting music and interesting takes, and like people embracing their influences from all over, like to make, you know.
Because some people might feel like, oh, I need to cater to no fucking. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
What kind of music do you want to write? Just fucking lean into it. I'm thinking about like the under stuff. Like there's songs that I had written that I had to separate, because I'd be like, I feel like this is an Under Oblivion song, and I feel like this is like a me song. But I realized I should have been doing it just like fucking
putting it together,
throwing it all together. Fuck it, see what
Which is kind of like what we. It's funny
it's
you didn't do that, because that's kind of what we would do.
Yeah.
Just like it was just trying stuff and seeing what worked. Which like I need to bring that up. It's been people talking about it out there. Mostly just Sierra, but just like, why don't y'all get back together?
Oh my God.
I'm like, no.
Sierra and who is it?
Maybe Paul.
Maybe Paul would be, yeah. Yeah.
The only thing, and it's something I don't want to do that, but the only thing that we were talking about the other day, it just sucks how much unreleased stuff we had, like,
that's
right there.
That's what kicks me in the pants.
Yeah, where I'm like, why didn't we just make this?
There was cool stuff.
Yeah.
There was cool songs that were being written that I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. Like this is like the next evolution of that we didn't get to release. So I'm like, oh well.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, which is why I push people, release your shit. Like,
just release your stuff. There's really no reason not to.
Yeah, it's most people are like have the access now, which I bring up probably with every band.
Yeah,
to
it's
see what
super
they
easy
like
to just get in a
record.
room now,
Yeah.
get a few hardware, and fucking just rip.
Yeah.
Not crazy.
It's affordable.
Like
It's affordable
Like Micah's
now, yeah.
fucking writing all types of shit with Dead Butterflies and just doing and getting hella streams and all this other shit, and he's just writing. He's just doing his own thing.
I really like haven't ever got the chance or made the chance to like pick apart Micah's brain because like they've been getting a lot of like streams and stuff like that on their music, and I'm just like, what is happening?
Now they're trying to like do some live shows, and I'm like, bro, fucking do it.
Yeah.
Like if you have a market waiting, like just go do it. And so he's been trying to get like the right team and do more practicing, but he's just been in his room writing music. And it's resonating with people, and I'm like, "You're doing something right, man. You're having fun while you're doing it. Like that's it. Nothing else matters. You know what I mean?
Isn't that kind of crazy? Do you ever? Because I'm sure the interest started there from seeing you like
probably,
do that music.
Yeah, probably. I mean, because I remember doing house parties at my mom's. Well, you remember the house parties. I mean, like in 08, 09.
There's a DVD for one.
Yeah, there's a whole DVD, which I found one not long ago from the first one. Yeah. I found that DVD and I was like, fuck yeah. But I mean, there's like a picture with me holding Micah like in the pit, like throwing him around. so he's always been around it. My thought process with it is always like sometimes I get nervous about him liking music because it's nothing's guaranteed and it's all work, and you just have to love it. Like you just have to love it. Like at the end of the day, you just have to love it. And that can be said with anything, but I only know music. So I very much know what I was willing to give. I know what I was willing to do. And so when I ask him like, what do you want to do when you're older, you know, because he's 17 now, like, you know, you're going to be a senior.
17,
yeah. And I'm like, it's almost time. You know what I mean? Like, you're about to jump into the world, like, and, you know, you can do whatever. And I mean, and the fact that he's dual citizenship with Germany, like, I'm like, bro, you could move to Germany and get free college. Like, you have these things that you could do. Yeah. What do you want to do? And he wants to do, what he's telling me right now is music composition. He wants to do, like, composing for, whether it be, like, band music or like you could even lean into like orchestration and stuff like that. And I'm like, cool, like fucking start learning, start just leaning into it. And like, cause like he's in the moment where you don't have all the responsibilities. And I knew that when I was younger too. Like I knew, I was like, this is the time to learn. This is the time to fuck up and do everything. And now I'm 30 and I'm like, okay, I don't have time to be fucking up. You know, I don't have time to be doing all this stuff. Like, and so I'm grateful to have put myself in those positions, but I'm trying to encourage him to be like, if you're gonna do this, like fucking full ass it, fucking 100%. You should just do it. Just do it. Just do it. That's what it comes down to.
See, that time I just dedicated to just fucking up.
I'm just gonna fuck
But
up.
I got most of those fuck ups out of the way, or you know what I'm saying? So they kind of did. And it's also a time where, for lack of like a better way of putting this, like you believe you can do it. You know what I mean? I feel like as you get older, depending on what life hits you with, like people start thinking, I'm like, oh, it's dumb. Right. Or, you know, how does this, you know, make monetary sense more than how does this make me happy? Right. And you get to a place where you're like trying to, you know, you give up. I'm like, oh, well, it's not doing this for me, so I have to do that. And then I don't know, like it's a talk I have with myself quite a bit with like other people when I see like, I don't know, people I know, friends, and life's just like lived. And I just think about like the position I'm in, and I don't see it going back to like just working my job and doing that. Like I don't know, like it's weird.
I saw online today. There's a mutual that I saw his status, and it was how he's after X amount of time he's gonna stop playing music now, and he's just gonna focus on, you know, his family and work. And I think about that, and I'm like, I can't do that. Like maybe now I don't have like family and stuff like that, so that's obviously like a different mentality to factor in. But I really don't know if I care to do anything else besides this, to be honest. Like I like what I do career wise. I like what I do passionately. I don't give a shit about really anything else, really.
It's just like really like, even if I look at the root base, like what conversations do I enjoy having, and the mundane, like, and this is mundane to me. Like I would be like, I would rather leave myself in a position where I'm still around people that I can talk creative shit about, people that like it makes sense to, and it all comes back to that. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You know what I mean? And if I wasn't, I just think about, and I think about the years where I went before, when like initially, like in high school, whatever, like the band Underbelly stopped, and I just had a gap of where I was just like working. Yeah,
it sucks.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
sucks.
And it wasn't, and like I'm like, it's fine until like we started like the band again, and then figuring out like, so because that was because I forgot what time I was like, oh, like you've been around like the scene for like a long time, this and that. I'm like, I guess it's a good amount, but it wasn't like the whole time. Like I didn't grow up in it. Like even when I was in the band, I wouldn't say I was in the scene because I played two venues. You know what I mean? It was just like that. Like I got to know like one band or whatever. And then like literally my first band was introducing me to Tomcats, and then Tomcats was like, oh, there's other people who play music just like the way we're doing. I'm like, cool. And then like, oh, there's the same people that go to this show or going to like a show somewhere else, and then figure out like, oh, there's shows happening all over the place,
all over.
You know, figuring out that, and then getting into like, you know, with our band more, knowing more people, and then with NoiseROT, I'd be like, oh, there's people like creating like all sorts of events, and then with like the festival, I'm like, oh, there's, you know, vendors and stuff like that. Oh, there's like artists, and there's people just creating actual like tangible things, you know. And I can't remember, it's like each body or something like that. They do like the beard oil and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, he's from here. And then discovering like Freaky Ferments, I'm like, they make hot sauce, and they're from Fort Worth. Like I go, they're here, you know what I mean?
There's you're thinking about vendors, and there's a food vendor that I want to work with called Fluffs. They're in Plano, but they were at Down and Out Bar this past weekend, and I'm like, fuck, they have these wings that look really good. I really want to get. Anyways, that popped in my head.
Close to lunch. It's close to lunch.
Yeah, I'm just hungry. Yeah. No, the scenes, it's expansive as fuck, and there's a lot of moving pieces. So, like, my dad would take me to shows since I was like, I don't know, 10, 11. And given his style of music is a little bit different than what I am into now. But like, we'd go to like thrash metal concerts. Like, he'd go not to like local shows, but he would go find like a national or like regional band that he liked. So I remember like, we'll go to like Ridgely Theater and watch Death Angel. But then the opening bands is what always interested me, because that was local. So there'd be like at one show, I saw a band called Demon Seed, which they've been around for a while now. There was a band called When Faith Fails and a bunch of other acts. And then I would follow them on like MySpace or whatever social media at the time, and then realize that they would be doing local shows around town. And I'd be like, oh, local shows. And I'd be like, oh, it's just local bands. That's cool. Like, that's a cool thing. And then I'd be like, oh, can we go to this show? And can we go to that show? And so he would take me up just all these shows. And it was cool to see how much was going on that didn't need a national act, didn't need to be like a 50, 60 plus whatever ticket price. It was like $10, $5, $15, go see this cool show. And and that's what we did, because, you know, we didn't have like hella money growing up, but we had like $20. I'm like, all right, we got a little bit of gas. Let's throw $20 down and we'll go watch a show for the rest of the day. You know what I mean? And that is what kind of really prompted me to like learn about what's going on in Fort Worth. Now, when I was younger, I didn't have a car, obviously, and I didn't get to go out. But it wasn't until about 7th grade, when I was living in White Settlement, I made a group of friends, and they would go to shows. They would either go to the mall to hang out, as most kids do, or they would go to shows. And I'd be like, oh, y'all go to shows too? And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, because the only one I would go with was my dad, you know what I mean? Which is cool and all, but like, we don't get. I mean, well, my dad used to mosh then, though. When my dad would mosh, though, like, he would mosh and he'd hit the shit out of people. He'd hit the shit out of people, and then he'd make me mosh, because I remember he gave me a mouth guard. He's like, here.
Oh shit,
yeah, he gave me a mouth. Yeah, he gave me a mouth guard. He's like, all right, get in there, and if you get hurt, handle it. I was like, what? And I remember being like going to like a summer slaughter with Negrafad just a long time ago, which they brought back. I think it's interesting. I don't mind the lineup. It's pretty cool. It's pretty controversial.
It's kinda controversial,
Everyone's like
right?
losing their shit about it. It's pretty tight. But I remember like someone, and I'm like 14, and I hit this guy, and he got mad. He like picked me up and like threw me, threw me across the fucking floor. Dead ass threw me across the floor. I was like, damn. And there's like a crew. I haven't seen them in a while, but there was a crew called the Pitbulls that would like mosh and kind of fuck with everybody sometimes. Like they're cool. I like Dino and I liked all those guys growing up. But I don't think they liked me because they would see this kid who would punch the shit out of him and be like, "What the fuck is this kid hitting me for?" Like, all right, sorry, but I think I learned the wrong thing. Like, I think I learned with the intention to hurt people. I was like, okay, but this was like circle pitting because a lot of push moshing was one thing when I was like, no, we should fucking catch an elbow. Like I've have a gash on my elbow from knocking some kid's tooth in. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm being too rough. But now everyone's like the hardcore dancing and like the slam dancing and all that stuff. Like people are fucking getting it. And I'm like, I'm too old. I was standing over here.
Can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, I've been hit like just as a bystander. I'm like, all right, cool. People having fun. I ain't mad at that. You know what I mean? I'm not a bitch about it. But younger me was
going
wilding out. Yeah,
Yeah.
wilding out, fighting grown men. I was like, and my dad would just be like, handle it. I'm like, all right, Dad. I love you, Dad.
Hey, it's Father's Day tomorrow. There you go. I love you, Dad.
Shit. I'm gonna go punch my dad.
Happy Father's Day.
With love. But it's an expansive scene. Seeing it since I was little has been really cool. And seeing where it is now is really cool. We've lost a lot of venues. We've lost a lot of acts, obviously. Bands come and go. But it doesn't stop. So I'm always curious how other states work or how other quote-unquote scenes work because, and I've said this before, like in Texas, we have a lot of different pockets. You know what I mean? Whether it's, mathcore, deathcore, country, alt-rock, whatever. But I'm curious how like other states work. Like even like just going down to like San Antonio and Houston, like I know they have a really strong like metal community. But what's their country like? What's their, hip hop acts are like? I'm always curious if it's that expansive because we just have a lot of shit. We have a lot of
stuff.
Good acts, like a lot of good bands. Like something I've been doing is let's say we book a tour, right? And I'll look at all the shows that tour is doing, and I'll look at those locals. I'm like, well, what's their locals like? What's this band in North Carolina like? What's this band in California like? And some of them are cool, but they're not like Texas cool. Well, I don't know how to say that. And it's not me talking shit, but we just have a lot of good
Every
bands.
band outside of Texas can suck a dick.
No, there's a lot of good bands, but there's just I think we're spoiled with how much good talent there is. Immediately in DFW, I will say that.
Yeah.
I'll go first to say that. But in Texas in general, there's a lot of good stuff. I mean, obviously a lot of good stuff in Cali. A lot of good stuff coming out of Oklahoma, like neighboring cities. But I don't know nothing about like northeast, like Pennsylvania, Chicago, a lot of the New York. Like I don't know stuff out there. So I'm curious. I'm curious what the scenes are like.
This is kind of like one of like my regrets with the band is that we never got to do runs to see like
we didn't take the chance.
Responses. You know what I mean? But I love how many runs I see people doing. Actually, I was talking to Postal. They've only been a band for like 2 years,
right?
And then so less than 2 years, they were already like going out of town to play. And I'm like, that's tight as fuck. And he's like, oh, is it really like that early? And I'm like, I'm going based on my experience. We never did it, and we were a band forever, but. You guys are just fucking going out and doing well out there. Like people are receiving you very well. Like the record, the EP that they put out, very like it's really fucking good.
It died.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it says no space on the memory card.
The fuck?
Damn. Audio it is.
Damn, it's audio. Hold on.
I'm gonna continue by just saying. So I think it's not a bad mentality to do that now. Because there's so many more people who are in the music and willing to go out to shows. Like you're just jumping into a market that's untapped. Why not go jump into it? Like I think the original concept was you gotta dominate your scene first or your market before you jump around and, you know, start touring or going out of city. And there's an argument to be said. Some people might be like, oh, you shouldn't tour until, you know, you can draw or whatever. But why not just go jump into these other cities, these other markets, and build at the same progress you would have built if you were just back home anyways? You know what I mean? Like, I don't see what's wrong with that. And it makes sense to me now. I think younger me would have thought, oh, I need to be able to pull in DFW before I go to Houston. Then I need to be able to pull in Houston before I go to Oklahoma. And then so on and so forth. Where now it's like, bro, just go play a show, and if they like you, they're gonna accept you, and you can just go with that. You know what I mean? Like, and then you've already built roots in that other city now. Like, so Postal, like, jumping around, I don't think that's bad. I think it's now the smarter way to do being in a band.
It makes sense because how is hopefully, like, your goal is to do this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Full
and you're gonna
time.
be moving around anyways.
Find people. Yeah. Like, your people who fuck with your shit, like, will be all over the place.
Exactly.
So let's say you're pulling 20 people here in DFW.
Sure.
You're like, instead of working on building, like, how do I get more people here? And then you go on a run and you start pulling 10 here, blah, blah, blah. Then total, your pull for your band in total, like, is 100 people that fuck with your band, which is what you need. You need people who actually like your band. And I get there's this balance that people handle. Like, it's cool to have, like, hometown support and being like, oh, when I'm in town, we're gonna pull, like, people, and that's cool as fuck. I go, but who are the ones that are actually going to, you know, come see you because they love you? Like, whenever you put out music, like, are they, you know, playing it, sharing it, or, you know, buying your merch or whatever like that? Like, which people are actually going to be there because of your, you know, your band? And it's hard to differentiate when you're just playing in town, right? I mean? It's like, oh, people are just coming because they're friends or whatever, but, you know, who are the actual fans, right? People are getting mad because I say this every podcast pretty much now, but I'm like, yeah, dude, I support all my friends, like, creating out there. It's like, I don't like everything that they do, you know what I mean? And that's just real. That's just a person
that's a good friend. You shouldn't lie to them.
Like, I'm not gonna like tell you not to do this. One, because everyone can fucking get better. You just gotta fucking do it. And he's like, and two, not everything is created for me. You know what I mean? Like, for me to like, you know, there's shit like we go all the time, like, where we talk about, like, you talk about, like, a band that you really love. I'm like, that's not for me. But then we, you know, there's stuff that I'll listen to and say, like,
bitch, you said snooze fest?
I didn't say it was bad. I just said I fall asleep. It's just calming.
I like it. Anyways,
it's just cool. It's fun. But yeah, like, I feel like going out increases your chances of finding those actual people that will, you know, like your band and actually enjoy them. You know what I mean? And that's what I think of. Like, if Postal would have never played that show, I would have never known about him. You know what I mean? Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So, and so doing that same effect outside, everywhere, it's only beneficial. I do have to caution that with, I wouldn't just go pick any show. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I wouldn't just go pick any show that's offered to me and go play out of town and hope for the best. Like, some sort of networking or some sort of research in those markets is obviously going to be beneficial, especially if you're playing with acts that are similar to you. But if Under Oblivion played in, I don't know, New York, and we were on a lineup that had no relevance to our type of music, then we may have wasted time and resources at that point. You know what I mean? But if they're like, oh,
especially because of that, it is early touring and all that stuff takes a shit ton of resources. You know, you travel, staying, figuring out, like, what all, like, all that is money. Like, it's amazing to see how many bands, like, hopefully make it back breaking even, right? You know what I mean? Like, at least that. Right. But, you know, sometimes it's just like, oh, it's basically like you planning some sort of, like, vacation where, like, oh, we're spending this much money so that we can go do this. You know what I mean? Instead of, like, oh, we'll hopefully come back. I won't say the band, but I remember, like, me thinking, like, you're big enough to where, like, you're making money, and then coming back, I'm like, oh, you just broke even. Yeah. I'm like, that's nuts.
That's insane.
You know, that's nuts for even, like, at different levels. But that just proves, like, you're doing this shit.
But you're doing it. And that's still reinvestment in yourself as a whole, as a band. And they've only gotten more opportunities from working that hard. Exactly. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's hard to argue with. It's like, if you want to get in this, again, with anything that someone wants to do that they're passionate about, it just takes work. It takes more work, and just moving smart and disciplining yourself and knowing I can get from A to Z, and I know how to get through B, C, D. I just need to fucking stay the course. Just stay the course and fucking get it done. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
just
not
knowing like you're going to have to work like for a while, and there'll be days where it will suck, and where you're like, this fucking why am I doing this? You know, or But yeah, you discover it. Like then you have moments that you're like, that's fucking why. You know what I mean? Like when I think about like even like NoiseROT and stuff like that. Like there was a time, I think it was maybe last year, where it was just like certain shows like weren't doing as well, and then it was like it was a little bit of a trend where like I was like, fuck, like this shit's getting like hard and scary, and it was continuing for a little bit, and then you have just like one good time, and you're like, or see just someone have an experience where they're just like, I was like, that's fucking why. I was like, that's why. Like there's the purpose for it. You know, again, shit gets hard, but you know, you reignite your reasons on why you're doing this stuff. Like this, like especially like NoiseROT in general is straight up like a passion project between people who just fucking
want to do it.
Yeah, who just love music, who love like being able to share these moments with people. And like, that's why we fucking do it. Like, you know, why everything that's spawned from it, like, is all because of that. It's like, because we enjoy doing it.
Exactly. Like, again, my best example is like even me and my dad hanging out because we had enough money to go to a concert. Like, that's all we needed. And that was heavily influenced in my life. And so I've seen like, you know, like little Mosh Kid, like his hanging out with his dad there, and he gets into it. You know what I mean? Like he's having a good time. So I'm like, that's cool. Like just there's people enjoying themselves, and we're hosting again. Why I like bartending, it's why I like bar managing. It's like I like curating, like an environment for people to just do whatever they want and not feel the weight of the world outside those doors and inside the venue. They're just having a good time. Like it's cool, and it's rewarding in its own. It really is. Yeah,
that for sure. I think I had this. It was weird. I forgot who brought this out of me, but I remember talking to Sierra about it after, and I'm just like, oh shit, you know what? I just figured out like why I really like doing this, and it's like the podcast, and I'm just like, oh, why? And I'm like, yes, there's a lot of like, you know, I get to talk to interesting people, this and that. I go, but it lets people feel heard, and that you're important enough to be listened to, that people care, you know what I mean? And that people are paying attention to how fucking like talented like you are. You know what I mean? Because I think like I've always like compared myself like, oh, I'm not as good because this exists. You know what I mean? Like this level exists. So I'm like, oh, so I don't need the attention or whatever. But here, like to me, I don't know, like again, like it is, music is subjective. All these like bands are subjective, like all these, you know, artists or whatever. But yeah, I get to, you know, I get to talk to most of the ones that I really fucking enjoy. And I'm like, some of them are just like, I need you to know like how much you're actually really fucking like good. You know what I mean? And people out there like are listening. And you're important. Like whatever you have to say is important. Like the music that you're sharing is important. You know what I mean? So like it is taken that way. But I'm like, oh, that's really special. And I've had a few instances where people, like I said, things to me like based on this experience and this talk and blah blah blah, and I'm like, that's fucking cool, like that's worth it. And that's why I can see myself just fucking keep doing this, you know what I mean? I don't care like how much time it takes us and that blah blah blah, because it's great, because it offers, I think, a mutual way of people to just interact with each other, and also just like real talks where it just feels like natural. It's like, oh, we're just fucking talking to each other.
It's not like we're on Saturday Night Live and everything's.
Yeah, I started. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think I started seeing like late night shows a little different. Where I'm just like, especially like, man, who's the notorious one? Fucking Jimmy Fallon. I used to love Jimmy Fallon, and now I'm just like, are you like actually having fun? Like, or is all this like just stage?
I mean, I'm sure he's having fun.
Yeah.
And I bet they're all having fun. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it is all staged.
It is like, you know what I mean? There's that element to it, and I'm just like, oh, like. Even that little bit, even like sometimes some of the shit is like, it's funny, but I'm like, man, I really do enjoy when people are just like themselves.
Riffing.
It's kind of cool,
bro. It's why I like Kill Tony. Like when it's just random people coming up, just giving it a chance, and just you don't know what's gonna happen, and then when they banter or the interview portion, and they banter, and I'm just like, damn, like this shit's, you can't fake that. Like that's just all improv. I think it's fantastic. I think that stuff is. It's pretty impressive.
You working on your minute?
Hell no.
Why not?
Hell no.
Why not? You got it.
Nah. I don't think I'm funny like that. Like beat for beat type shit. Like actually putting on. I think I'm funny situationally. Like I think if there's like a situation I can make a joke out of something. I'm like, oh shit, that was funny. I know growing up, I was funny at other people's expense because I was bullying. You know what I mean? Like in fifth grade, bullying people, and I'd be like, "Have you seen this motherfucker?" You know,
I
like,
look at it back, and I'm just like, I think I was always like, yeah, like bullying and shit like that. I was like, I don't remember getting bullied, but I'm like, I think I was bullying people just because I was trying to be funny to deflect the bullying. Before, like, because I was always like the nerdy fucking chubby fat kid, and I was just like, I gotta get these fuckers before it. And I would aim high. Like I would go to like the popular kids. I'm like, no, people think you're cool. I'm bringing your ass down. Like, so we're on the same level. And I'm just like, oh shit, I did that a lot, and I don't remember. I just remember having a moment where I'm like, fuck, like I'm just bullying people, and I have to like notice it, and I still kind of like do it sometimes. So I'm like, I need to stop. Like, take a little time. I think you're one where I'm like, oh my god, like I keep just talking shit.
Yeah, I have learned to be like, don't be an ass, don't be funny at someone else's expense.
Yeah.
Like, so I've had to like, because I'll think of the jokes. And I'm like, I could get their ass right now, but I'm not gonna do any of that. So like that type of funny, sure, but I couldn't do like a Kill Tony minute thing. Nah, I don't think so.
Fucking, I remember when Dizzy was doing his festival, and he was like, "Hey, can you do a 10-minute comedy set?" And I'm just like, "I've never done comedy."
10 minutes?
I was like, 10 minutes?
That sounds crazy.
He's like, "It's just 10 minutes," and I'm like, "That's a long time.
It's a long time
to just be up there, and with the risk of just like silence after punchlines." I'm like, no, thank you. Like this shit takes work, especially listening to like Kill Tony or just like open mics and stuff like that. Because I've been to a few around town. I went to my
first one the other day.
Yeah. There's some funny
Second
people
one.
around town. Yeah.
Second one. They were not funny.
Not that one.
The other day.
Some of them aren't.
There was like one guy that was funny, and I was like, hell yeah. But I also think I went in there with like not the mentality of like they need to make me laugh. I'm ready to laugh.
Yeah.
If they'll make me laugh. And I got like I chuckled on a few guys, but nothing really made me wholeheartedly laugh.
And that's also was the balance, because I'm like, I think it was mostly like a music festival that he was talking about.
Right.
I'm like, I don't like, you got to be like, if I'm going to a comedy club, like I'm like, I'm here to, I expect myself to laugh. You know, I'm not there like, hopefully not cynical and be like, they're not gonna make me laugh at anything.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm here to have a good time. So it's like a right mindset of being.
Right. But if someone's ready to headbang and you're coming to do a set, they'll be like, the fuck?
Yeah, like it's gonna be real tough. And then like everything I've listened to, because that's what interests me first with podcasts is hearing like comedians do podcasts, because I'm like, I've always like, comedy's always been super big, like I guess in my life. And it's one of those things, like before I knew music, I didn't know how the sausage was made, I guess. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what's the process. Like I was like, I know the process that I can do to make a song. Like I don't know that process. How do you write a joke? You know what I mean?
Right.
When I would see specials, I'm like, okay, they just wrote all this special down and then just went and recorded it. I didn't know about like, you got to trial and error this shit and figure out tag, like different, just the idea of like, this tag will work here. And I'm like, what the fuck is a tag? You know what I mean? So it's like little things that they pitch around, or how like whenever you would see a special when they would bring something in the beginning all the way back to the end, you know, that time, I'm like, that's so fucking cool. You know what I mean? And realize how this stuff works. But yeah, I'm like, it's very terrifying, because you have to be able to think on your feet, and I'm like, like that's the part that like freaks me out, where like, especially like hecklers and stuff like that, I'm like, if one of them gets you, like you're done.
You're done.
You know what I mean?
You're done. They make you
because you're supposed to be you're the one up there. So if a heckler gets you, like you're done. Even if like whatever, like your whole set could be good, but if you get fucking fucked up by them, it's like,
because then I think of people like, to me, I think Eddie's hilarious. I always thought he was hilarious, but could he do stand up? I don't know. I don't think so. You know what I mean? Like, because he would make me like laugh like a motherfucker. But I think with comedians, I think some people are just naturally funny, and then you put them on a platform and they are even funnier. Yeah. That is not the case for everybody, I don't think. I think some preparation makes people funny. But what I resonate with as far as comedy is like the real life situations and flipping it and making it funny. Like, oh yeah, like that stuff is cool. Like just random storytelling jokes and stuff like that. Cool. You know what I mean? But I think there's something that hits home when it's like, oh, this did happen to me. Here's how I made light of it. And here, that's the joke. I mean, I think that stuff is cool.
I think that's cool because it offers not only unique takes because it is an experience you had, but also like most experiences are pretty shared experiences, you know what I mean? Or not even if the experience, like if it's like some wild shit that happened, like the reaction is about like the same as like, oh, what the fuck, you know, and things like that, like things that catch you off guard. Because I remember like my favorite specials, I think, and it's weird because like I think about it now, but I think Dave Chappelle had one called "Killing Them Softly." It's one of the first ones that I remember him doing. But I remember there's like a joke that used to always make me laugh, and it was about a baby selling weed on the corner, and I'm like, that didn't happen, but he tells it like it happens, and I don't know why. I'm just like, that's like, I was always like, that's crazy, the baby. But I was so enthralled in like in the way it was told, and but seeing that process in itself is cool as fuck. Which is also, again, bringing back to this, which is why I like talking to not only musicians but other people, because it's fascinating. Like I remember when I had John here from Freaky Ferments, and just listening to like the hot sauce process, I'm like,
the whole thing,
I know it's in the bottle. Like I don't know how the fuck this all goes into, and I'm like, that's interesting as fuck. You know what I mean?
Or like Jesus talking about the ramen, like he's got a whole process to it. Like, cool.
Hearing all that stuff and hearing it versus like looking it up or hearing it from someone who again is passionate about it is like so fucking cool. Like because he was telling, I remember hearing about like the actual like ramen in Japan is like 60-hour broths. I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? Like, what do you mean? And he's like, yeah, I get up like mine are just 24 now. I'm like, that's a whole day of making broth.
Just the broth.
Just the broth.
Yeah, that shit's crazy.
Yeah, which I'm like, that's really
it's so good.
It's just some ramen.
So good.
Yeah, but like man, this scene has been pretty tight. This whole thing has been pretty cool.
It's been really cool. It's nice to also like be involved as much as we are now with it. Like having our own flagship and be like, we're set sailing. You know, we're gonna do what we can, and people being behind that. Pretty tight.
Yeah, people. I think actually Burn said the other day, but like people defending your name in rooms that you're not there, some shit like that. Right. But I'm like, oh, we've like had our names thrown into like different situations to like someone's looking for help with this, and like we've been suggested as some shit. I'm like, that's cool. Like that means not only like do they trust us with their stuff, but they're like
promoting us.
I don't know. That's one of the biggest things. Like for me, like I won't just throw out anybody's name if you're looking for something. Right. Like I'm like, oh, because I'm telling you, to, like I'm suggesting something, like I'm gonna recommend somebody that I vouch for. So when people do that with our name, I'm like, that's cool. Like hopefully like they're taking the same way. It's like, oh, like these guys will do their best.
And I mean, I'll do the same when we have like a show that we possibly can't take on, but I know it's still a solid show. I'm like, hey, here's who I think you should talk to, or someone needs like videography or photos. I'm like, here's who I think you should talk to. Like I have a list of just like, I trust these people. They do good work, and it's all community based anyways. Like it's all of us helping each other out. Like we can all eat at the same table. I don't see what's wrong with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that more people were popping up wanting to do it, and I'm like, that just means more people will get more opportunities. You know what I mean? Because we can't get to everybody. Like, not, even with like the amount of people creating shows, like there's still all these new and up and coming like bands that need to figure out like different ways to get on a show. Like we I think that's what we were talking about the other day. Is like, dude, when I was initially in the band at first, like I had no idea how to do that, like at all. Like, how do you get on a show at the time? Like I bring a story up a lot, but the door was going under in Fort Worth, and like they had their calendar on MySpace, and they just had all these blank spaces on one day. And I messaged like, how do I headline? He's like, what day do you want to headline? I was like, oh, like that, you know what I mean? But there was no guidance other than that. And now you see like all these people like making really dope lineups and shows and just discovering like artists, you know, like through like these lineups and things. I'm like, this is so cool. Like I hope more people fucking do it. Like, cause you create a community for it. And it's, again, people, as long as they're creating cool memories for people, like that's what it's about. I mean, these experiences. But yeah, we're up to some cool shit. What do we have coming up? We have a bunch of shows.
I don't know when this comes out, but I know we have Bloodlines. Tonight we have Worthy of a Crown and Saints Can Lie. Haltom Theater, we have Sleepwalker, Indigo League, and more in the side stage. But next week we should have Bloodlines with Lightworker.
Oh, this won't be.
We have Plus Fest 3.5,
Plus Fest,
which has finally been announced. The full wave. That's pretty tight.
That's a fire lineup.
So that's gonna be fucking sick. But that's not until July. So we got some time until that. We have some other stuff in the works that we can't necessarily talk about because it's still some pending, stuff in fall. So we'll see if that's going to come through, which would be pretty tight if it does.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I'm just trying to get, not so much show focus, but like the programs are really cool. I mean, the podcast is, I think, autonomous and doing its own thing. I want to lean into the Raw to Root sessions and start doing like, dropping an episode every month if I can help it. It's a lot more work, and you were talking about this earlier. Like I have to go in that like kind of more scripted, not necessarily like my questionnaires, because when I interview the bands, it's pretty much riffing, but like the introduction, the tags, the outline, and all that stuff. Like I always feel like I gotta sit. I kind of do what you do. I'm like, all right, I gotta get this down.
Yeah,
we're gonna get it. But you do it in one go, Lewis. You can hear me. I'm like, fuck, I fucked it up. Do it again. Run it back. I fucked it up. Do it again. Yeah. I was like, you know what? It fucking I was like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
I always get too much in my head about it, but I want to lean into that program. We've talked about a third concept, which we'll see if we get that one off the ground. But like that is fun. That a lot of the programming stuff has been fun. The NoiseROT TV interviews and all have been fun.
We didn't even So we've been going out to like different shows and stuff and doing like building content for other people, and that's been kind of sick. Like the Van Full of Nuns, the Pop Punk's Not Dead Fest was fun.
That was badass.
That was super
That was fucking
fun.
cool. Yeah. And then like getting to meet the bands, getting to go out to Buda, Texas.
Oh, Buda.
Buda. Sorry, guys. Buda, Texas.
Yeah. I like Buda though.
I like butter. I don't know if I'm butter.
I like butter.
Butter's better. That's so stupid. But that show was badass. Yeah. It sucked that it rained, but still very cool that they pulled it all off.
It huddled everybody together though in the inside, and that inside stage's been fucking crazy.
Fucking cool.
But that's another thing of just like talk about like what I literally just brought up of people bringing up your name and stuff. That was all word of mouth from like damn it. I was literally gonna say Mediocre Murphy because that's her Instagram name, but yeah, Constance was like, hey, like I'm doing this, and would you mind if I throw your hat in the ring? And I was like, oh, sure. And then like it just happened all like really fast, but birthed the relationship. We're now like we're going out. That's another thing we're doing. Yeah, in July. Insert date here. I don't know.
Right.
But we're doing, the beach party like for Van Full at Legacy Hall, and that's another thing that's just.
Which I'm excited to go to that venue.
That venue,
I haven't been there
yet. Clean. Like
it's so clean.
You know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean.
No, it is clean. You know what I mean? There's bathrooms. You know what I mean? Oh fuck yeah! That's I never shit at.
When is that?
Man. What, Legacy Hall? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a shopping center.
No, when?
Oh, when is that? July.
Gotcha.
I feel like I'm gonna guess July 17th. That's totally right.
Yeah, we're gonna have a busy week that week.
That might be it. I honestly hold on. It's right here. It's right here. Oh wait, no. It is July 12th.
Heard. Easy peasy.
Yeah, July 12th.
But like even with like doing the experience like that, like because you have spearheaded that program. So when me and Bernie went to go do Margarita Fest, or Margaritaville, like I was a little nervous, because it felt like the floaties were off, you know what I mean, kind of type of shit, and I was like, oh, we have to go up and like do this, and that, and it wasn't that it was difficult, but I think I leaned a lot more in like you steering that boat, because you're able to like get the best out of people and then still go do the editing really quick and get everything uploaded. I feel like I'm just a fool. I feel like I'm just silly. So I was like,
a control problem.
But it was cool doing that festival too. So like even getting requested to be like, hey, I saw what y'all did there, y'all want to do that. Here,
Yeah.
I'm like, cool, let's fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Do whatever we can to help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all it is, really.
It's fun because it's also more spreading that, like, hey, here's a skill that we can do. Like, how do we help other people like with it? You know what I mean? Like, it's using the same resources that we've built over, years, and then it's like, oh, okay, we can offer this to like other people. And
then, I mean, I still think about it. I still think eventually, like, some sort of artist management program would be cool too. I think we have enough resources and know-how to help develop people.
Yeah.
Not anytime soon, but I think it's something we could talk about.
I think it's in the works, and I literally just we talked about this the other day where I was like, I didn't see that before because I was feeling like overwhelmed, like, oh, it's too much, like already.
For sure,
and I was like, and honestly, it's also like, what can I offer? Like, I was looking from my end. I was like, what can I offer? Like these bands that they can't like already
do it themselves.
You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. There's a lot of things that people can do on their own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think the benefit is we've accumulated a lot of resources and we have the ability to take things off people's plates, so to speak.
So yeah, Fall Europa, when they were in here, they had
I want to go to their studio. I want to check that out. Yeah,
they invited. They're supposed to do something this summer, but I'll hit them up about it. But yeah, so they just recently, like, one of their friends is now like doing like a manager position sort of for them. But they were that's one thing they brought up, was like just stuff getting taken off the table for them so they can concentrate
keep
on
focusing on.
You know what I mean? I'm like, that's pretty awesome, because it is a lot when you look at like a band when it comes to like creating your music, and now like everybody's promo. Like, I'll take Jordan from Bad Lives. Have you seen him upload? Like, he's been hustling.
Jordan is so good.
He's talented and shit, but
not just like musically. Like,
he
understands
all that stuff clean and shit.
Marketing, yeah, it's awesome.
That song's been stuck in my head.
Talented, bro.
No,
fuck off, talented.
But yeah, but shit just getting taken off the table, and I thought about it because I started seeing like companies, not only bands, but like bands, companies, brands of like having a social media person show up. It's kind of an approach that I started taking towards NoiseROT too. We would show up one day a week. All right, we're shooting content today. Here's the ideas for you. And then you didn't have to prep anything. Like, you just show up, let's shoot this, get it done. But it's the same thing, like, oh, that'd be nice. But with bands, it was like, oh, like, remembering to post certain stuff, like reposting like your show flyers, reminding people about music, making posts in general. It's a lot. Like, we look at our team, like our team has like a certain responsibility, so we can make sure that all that shit is continuously like going up. But it's the same thing. Like, a band has to do all that on top of writing, performing, doing all this stuff. So also with talking to them, I was like, yeah, it also like frees up any excuse you have to be like, oh, we can't write, we're just so busy and this and that. I'm like, oh, now you what is it? Damn, you shitter get off the pot. You know what I mean? Like, now you don't have no excuse. Like, now this is all you have to concentrate on. Now work on that.
Everyone, all cylinders firing.
Yeah.
Get a lot done.
But I think I'm pretty excited about the future of NoiseROT, because I think I see a little bit more now of like the possibilities. Now, I feel like I feel like you saw a lot of it.
It's just work. It's just work. It's just work.
Yeah, I think just everybody working on like a certain part to push themselves further, and also be able to push, NoiseROT further is kind of angling in. You know what I mean? I feel like everybody's pushing like towards a certain like different skill set, and building it so we can push past like we already are.
Then we expand.
Then we expand.
Then we bring in you.
Could be you. If you'd like an unpaid internship where you do everything, we take the credit.
Terrible. No, hell no. I can't do that. No, credit goes where credit is due.
If you want $50 per show promoted.
Jesus.
I'll cut that out.
No, leave it in. That's funny. But yeah.
Yeah, that's honestly one thing I am excited for, is being able to bring in people to help. But I'm also like, which we've had the conversation. Yeah. I'm on this side, like, if you're gonna do something like for us, like, you're gonna get paid. You know what I mean?
Gonna
Like,
get taken care of. Yeah.
You get taken care of. Like there's got to be something in it for you. And I've had people ask like, oh, with the experiences, and I was like, I get it to some degree.
I get it to some degree too. I'll let you finish first.
Because I literally just did it this morning. You know what I mean? I worked for like 2.5 hours for nothing. So I do get that. There's a balance for me that I need to work out. You know what I mean?
I think I was watching something about how internships do get a lot of flack because there's not like monetary, but there's more to that experience than just money. I mean, some people learn a whole new skill set that's going to help them in their own endeavors and or solidify their place in your team, that then when you do grow and you are capable of taking care of them, they're already at the front. They're already at the front of the line to get paid, to help expand, and they understand your business at that point, and it's just even that much more beneficial for let's say us, if that was something we did. So I've always teeter-tottered between the two. You know what I mean? Like I teeter-totter between like, I want to expand and get some people in and get them taken care of and get them paid, but also I'm not opposed to like the internship. But if we can provide something, I mean, if we're not providing them with
even experience,
with
even like,
the
hey,
right,
is there something for
then
you to do?
Then
Like,
it feels messed up.
Are you learning something?
Yeah.
It's like, is there something like to provide to you? Like,
Right.
where people like trying to break in like with artists and connect. Because I realize I'm like, we do have access to like a lot, and I'm like, okay, so maybe like even just getting some of that access like would be beneficial. Like that's like, okay, I'm okay with that trade off. And it opens up now more now that I'm trying to like learn a new skill set where I'm like, this is what I'm willing to do just so I can learn. You know what I mean? So it does make sense like into some sort of degree. But I would like to have a set plan to be like, this is what you'd be gaining. Like you would be like learning something too.
That would be us developing like a training and expectations of or a type of, here's what you can expect to learn at the end of the day, blah, blah. Here's what you should be good at by X amount of time. But that's, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, man, this is. I think we're pretty good. We gotta get to the venue here in a little not too long. It's gonna be a good time. I don't know why we don't need to advertise that show because it's not gonna be out before then.
But you missed it. Could have been there, or you were there.
If you're there and you're seeing this, comment.
Butter Texas.
Better. Yeah, so UO's coming back. No, but if you comment, you can get a free EP because I got like 200 of them hoes.
So many, you can take it. Oh my God.
But yeah, DJ, thank you.
Give them all to Gary.
Thank you for making the trip. It doesn't have his favorite song.
Oh, it doesn't? Yeah.
Gary single-handedly put Motives to the top of the list. And he showed me his Spotify rap. He's like, look at my top song. And I'm like, bro, you weren't lying. Like, it does say Motives. He's like, hell yeah, I like that song. Like, hell yeah, Gary's a real one.
It is a real one.
Yeah. Thank you for coming out.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
From the other side of the room.
That's a lot. We talked. All right. I didn't give you any any preparation time.
No, it worked out.
Yeah.
That's cool. I got plenty to say.
Yeah, I think it's been episode 113.
113.
2 letters, man. It was the easiest one to make.
DJ. You know what it is.
You know what it is. Fuck it. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you next time.